Thank you, Secretary McMahon, for being here in our committee hearing this morning. I believe we are very fortunate to have you. And I think President Trump made an amazing pick when he nominated you. And I think you will take the Department of Education to where it needs to be. And that is supporting the states, sending education back to the states. For decades, the Department of Education has grown far beyond its original intent, imposing mandates, funding ideological programs, and entangling schools in red tape that distracts from its core mission of education, but not education at the federal level, but education at the state level. All the while, student performance has declined, as had been mentioned plenty of times, costs have ballooned, and bureaucratic overhead has exploded. President Trump's FY26 budget is a budget request is a strong step in the right direction as it cuts wasteful and duplicative programs, and it lays the groundwork for an education system that is more accountable and far more responsive to students than the one we currently have right now. This budget would spend less, centralize less, and return power to where it belongs, to the states, to the parents, and to the local communities. But first, I want to address the radical gender ideology promoted by the Department of Education during the last 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration. In April 2024, the department finalized a new Title IX rule redefining sex-based discrimination to include gender identity. Protecting all students is essential for a strong learning environment, and yet this extreme policy put female students at great risk. We've seen the left force female students and athletes to share spaces such as bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports with biological males. They have no interest in protecting young girls or women. After all, if you cannot define a woman, you cannot defend a woman. In fact, at last year's budget hearing, former Education Secretary Cardona repeatedly refused to define what a woman was, dodging my question 3 separate times. So, Secretary McMahon, can your Department of Education now define for me what a woman is?
Me.
Perfect.
I was born a girl, and I grew to be an adult woman.
Thank you. Thank you. It's refreshing to see that the Trump administration and the Department of Education, with you at the helm, is returning to common sense policies grounded in biological reality to protect young girls in schools. I was proud to see President Trump on his first day in office sign an executive order to push back against gender ideology and restore biological truth in federal policy. Surrounded by young female athletes, he also signed an order effectively banning biological males from women's sports and spaces. President Trump took swift action to end the left's harmful agenda that has endangered and devalued women across the country. Remarkably, just 1 day after the order was signed, the NCAA updated its eligibility policies to prohibit biological males from competing in women's sports. Secretary McMahon, as you know, President Trump signed an executive order on March 20th, 25, to dismantle the Department of Education. And I'd like you to clear up some misconceptions about this executive order. Can you confirm that the President's budget fully preserves critical funding for schools, specifically Title I Part A for low-income districts, and special education funding under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, while also targeting wasteful bureaucracy, but not the essential resources that students and teachers rely upon?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Since 1980, taxpayers have spent nearly $3 trillion on federal education funding. Per pupil spending in public schools has skyrocketed since then, yet test scores, as has been mentioned many times, have failed to improve meaningfully. Reading and math scores have either flatlined or declined according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress. Does streamlining bureaucracy at the Department of Education mean students and teachers will receive less funding, or does it actually ensure that more of each dollar reaches the classroom?
More of each dollar will reach the classroom because we're eliminating a lot of the bureaucratic red tape that takes time and money to comply with.
Thank you. Thank you. My last question, how does this budget begin the long overdue work of returning educational control to parents and local communities? And how does it support school choice initiatives that expand parental options and improve academic outcomes?
Well, thank you, sir, for that question. As we said, it does protect Title I-A funding and also IDEA funding, so those streams are going to continue to come to provide that necessary budget requirements for those students. But just by, as I've been speaking about, the president's looking at making sure that no student is imprisoned, if you will, in a failing school. That should not happen. So he wants to have more options, more opportunities. One of those is through increasing the charter school budget. He doesn't say charter schools are the be-all and end-all. He's simply saying it is a choice. If the public school is not providing the kind of education that student needs, and there's an opportunity for a charter school, or there's an opportunity for that child to attend a Catholic school or to be homeschooled, how can that child, under the supervision of its parents and working with the local school system, get the best education possible? It can't happen efficiently from Washington, D.C. It needs to happen on a local level. And that's the president's goal and intent, to improve education in our country. He was absolutely angered and embarrassed when he saw what the national scores were. And he said openly when he was campaigning that this cannot stand, that America, in order to continue to be the superpower and the #1 country in the world, we have to have the best education in the world. We have to provide equal access to quality education for every child in America, and that is his goal.
Well, thank you. That is very refreshing to hear, and thank you for your strong leadership, and I yield back.